Let's go ahead and model some presents for under the tree. And one thing we didn't do last time is turn off the snapping, which is a good idea to do because then you're just going to start moving things around and wondering why everything's acting funny. I've included some keyboard shortcuts that we used last time, as well as the bevel shortcut, which we will be using for shaping the edges of our presents because we just don't want sharp edged cubes. So go ahead and hit Shift A and we will add a cube. It's one big present, but let's scale it down. And I'm going to hit 3 on the number pad, go into side view, and then bring that up and out front here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this and create a couple of just different shapes of the same cube. Okay, so let's go ahead and duplicate this and Shift D and drag this one out and Shift D again. And let's go ahead and select this middle one. I'm going to hit Shift Z to make this a smaller package. I might actually select this and make this a little bit bigger. And selected your third cube, and I'm going to S and then X. Make that a long one. And S and then Z to smush that down. Actually, I'm going to select this one and Shift Z to just make it a little bit thicker. Make this one a little thinner. You can make them however you like. In front view, 1 on the number pad, I'm just going to grab these and put them on the floor so they're not floating. But they could float if you want magic presents. So you could call this done, but these sharp edges aren't realistic. So let's go ahead and select your main cube. And we'll tab into edit mode. And to bevel the edges, you will Control B. And then you can drag whatever size you like. Now we don't necessarily want just a flat edge like that, so you can use your scroll wheel to increase the subdivisions of the edge. I'm just going to do 1, but then I'm going to make it a little smaller here. Just to round those out a little bit. I tab to go into object mode, and you can see it looks a little jagged, but we can just hit the smooth and that fixes that. Now these objects have been scaled from the original. When you try to go to bevel these, this one might be okay. This one is going to show a lot different. Let me show you what happens when we try to bevel an object that's been scaled. So I'm going to tab in the edit mode and Control B. You can see that your bevels are uneven, they're inconsistent. And to fix this, I'm just going to right click. I'm going to go into object mode tab, and then I'm going to hit Control A. Now you can apply the scale. This will basically tell Blender that this object is as if it was an original object, as if you just put it in the scene. So it's not going to have any scaling information tied to it. So tab in edit mode and Control B, and you can see that your bevels are consistent now. So just one subdivision, I just clicked up one on the scroll wheel, and we'll just give it a little bit of a edge there, and tab out of edit mode and smooth that. And this one I'm not going to do the Control A to apply the scale because I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference. So let's try it and see. A little bit, but it's negligible. So just a little bit of subdivision there, and do that. I'm going to tab in object mode and smooth. So there you got your 3 presents there. What I'm going to do is go into front view. I'm going to move this over a little bit. I'm going to shift D. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to hit R to rotate. So let's see what this looks like. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. G to grab, and then we can do that. I'm going to move that way a little bit. I'm going to select this. I'm going to shift D. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to S to scale it. And I'll move that back and over a little bit. So play around a little bit and arrange your gifts under the tree. I'm just going to drag this over. Since I'm going to render from about this angle, I'm just kind of going to position in a general area here, and I'm going to hit R and then Z to rotate this along the Z axis. I'll do that. I'm going to select the cube there, and then R and then Z, and I'll rotate that a little bit. I'm going to right click and then shift right click these to select everything, and then R and then Z to rotate. Let's do that. And let's go over here to this window and G to grab, and we'll move that back like this. We can shift D to duplicate that. Move it over here so it's not going through the floor. It's RZ. Oops. I'm going to zoom out. We'll just do that. I might actually scale that down a little bit. Let's move you back and over. You can see I moved the 3D cursor. This is just where objects are placed when you add them to the scene. It happens because since you're left clicking a lot, you might miss your target, and when you click on a blank area, it just puts it wherever it wants. So you can recenter that easily by Shift C. So there you have some presents. Go ahead and create some cubes or different shapes, bevel the edges, practice around with that, and arrange some packages under the tree. The next step will be to add materials to everything, and we will add light material, or an emitter, I should say emission material, to the lights, so it will look as if they're glowing against the other objects. We're just going to apply basic materials to everything, maybe add a little bit of reflectivity to the ornaments, and maybe a little bit to the packages so they're just not drab. And even go ahead and tweak your tree and ornaments and lights, just get everything to look and be in the position that you want them to be before we start adding materials, and then we'll jump into that.